Today, we will learn about what is pH and what is pH meter. We will learn about pH, its significance in general life, and requirements in pharmaceuticals. Moreover, everything you need to know to successfully execute pH meter handling and operation as a manufacturing technician. Let us discuss what is pH. pH is nothing but measurement of acidity or alkalinity of any water-soluble substance. We can measure pH in the range between 0 to 14, which is called pH scale. pH scale is colored indicated scale. If pH of a solution measured between 0 to 7, this is more towards acidic side, and if pH of a solution is 7, it is neutral just like water. And pH level 7.1 is where alkalinity begins and 14 is highly basic with no acidity present. Bananas are usually sweet, but if you have ever bitten into a very unripe banana, you probably noticed a bitter taste right away. That bitter taste can be a clue that something is an alkaline substance. The opposite of an alkali is acid. Instead of a bitter taste, acids tend to have a sour taste. Things such as lemons and vinegar are acids, or acidic. In the past, litmus paper was used to tell if a solution is acid or base. The change of color of litmus paper was used to match with a standard color strip to determine the strength of acid and base. In general term, pH is alkalinity or basicity and acidity of a water-soluble substance or concentration of OH negative and H positive ion in a solution. Pure water has a neutral pH, which means water has equal concentration of hydrogen and hydroxyl ion concentration. You can see screen indicating different pH of different solution or product so you can relate with real-life examples. Now we have good understanding of what pH is. Now let's understand how pH level of drugs is important and the things you need to know to execute your job responsibilities related to pH balancing as manufacturing technician. The pH is being maintained while drug is being formulated. While we consume a medicinal drug for a specific effect, so pH is important for their drug dissolution and solubility, drug release, drug stability. Unbalanced pH level can impact bioavailability of a person taking drug. For example, a shampoo that has a pH of 7 or higher, which is high alkalinity that can cause irritation to the scalp. Similarly, pH level of your blood is 7.1 to 7.4, and if the drug you are consuming has higher acidity or higher alkalinity, instead of benefiting from the drugs, our body may not be able to absorb the drug, and can have adverse effect on body. That is all you need to know about pH levels and its general relation to drugs. Moving forward, we will learn in different class how to prepare and manage pH of a solution up and down. In this class we will see how pH meter looks like, how it operates, its calibration before use, and all you need to know at job responsibility. Now, as you can see pH meter image on your screen, this is just a model of pH meter that is being used commonly in mid-sized companies. Although, there are many different looking pH meters, small or large, just like a blood pressure check machine. You also see combination electrode, which is taking the reading of solution. This glass electrode should always be dipped in a solution, which is a pH 4 buffer solution, otherwise it will get deactivated and give wrong pH readings. It sends the reading through electrode holding arm to digital display the reading of pH level of any solution. The keypad helps you enter drug names and number, which then an operator can print out. This printout comes out at the bottom at a slide-out card slot shown in video. For an example, if you are formulating a drug and need to record and/or adjust the pH level, you can enter the drug name and/or code into the keypad, and this information can be printed out along with the pH reading, and this printout is called raw data or metadata. The raw data printout is then attached to and transcribed to different documents for traceability purposes. For example, if we adjusted pH of a drug today and collected raw data and saved, 6 months later that data can be retrieved and you can find out exactly what had happened at the time of process, date, drug, pH level, pH meter equipment number, operator's initials, can also be traced back to original and true information. Some companies use pH meters that do not print out raw data or metadata. In this case, to create traceability, dual control is established, which means a person would operate and another person would verify his work, and both operators would sign and date, along with actual reading on applicable documents. This is called dual control in case of an equipment cannot print out. This is very important compliance part and details about to which documents the pH readings and related information is transcribed to, or metadata attached to. You will learn this when we go to training class for buffer preparation under formulation training. Besides manufacturing, pH meter is used by quality control department and labs as well. Now, we are moving on how to operate a pH meter. Before using a pH meter, we must check some preliminary steps, an initial visual walk-through of pH equipment. A visual inspection or a visual walkthrough from an operator must be conducted before using a pH meter, making sure it turns on and the meter is clean. There are no cracks or breaks on the pH meter. Calibration status sticker and OK to use tag is there. The calibration status on the sticker as shown in video has information on when this meter was last calibrated and when the next calibration due date is. If the meter passes the next calibration due date and recalibration is not performed, you must not use the machine until recalibration is done as per GMP rules. Ensure the power supply to the pH meter and LCD display status of pH meter after power on appears on main screen. If your pH meter at the company requires to store the electrode in solution, always preserve the glass electrode in pH for buffer. To calibrate an operation of pH meter, you will first need to turn it on and allow adequate time for the meter to warm up. This should generally take around a few seconds, but check your pH meter's operating instructions provided by the company for exact times. Nowadays in the market very advanced pH meters are available, their storage and operations are very easy, and you can perform operations in seconds. Always clean your electrode with a sterile wipe. It's a wipe made of cloth that doesn't shed any fabric particles commonly used in clean room operations. Avoid rubbing the electrode as it has a sensitive membrane around it. If you find the electrode to be particularly dirty, consult your operating manual for recommended cleaning solutions. Cleanliness of all machines and equipment is essential GMP practice. Before operation of pH meter, ensure its external calibration due date is not exceeded. External calibration is performed by third-party vendor hired by a company. This type of external calibration is performed either once a 6-month or yearly basis as per company policy. Before any operation begins, as manufacturing technicians are supposed to start the pH meter and calibrate it. At this stage, we are moving to calibrate pH meter. You will generally need 3 buffer solutions for calibrating pH meter. The first will be a neutral buffer with a pH of 7, the other 2 can be a pH of 4 and 10.01. At this stage, we only confirm that solution with pH 7 shows the same number on digital screen. Buffer simply means a water solution with desired pH level. Buffer's pH changes very little when a small amount of NaOH sodium hydroxide is added to make it more alkaline if needed. Vice versa, HCl, hydrochloric acid, is added if it is basic and needed to be more acidic. This adjustment is done by adding either chemical NaOH or HCl in increments of 0.5 milliliters. In practicality, if your pH reading is 8.5 and you are instructed to bring it down to 7, you would then start to add 0.5 milliliters of HCl each time in increments 0.5 milliliters each and every time or until you reach the desired pH reading. This is as simple as that. Prior to operating the pH, machine operator performs a calibration check. After checking general rules of thumb that the machine turns on, display is working, probes are attached and not broken. Now at this point 3 different buffer solutions are provided to a manufacturing technician. We are given 3 different solutions with 3 different pH levels. Now, one by one, you would check the pH level to see if the machine is reading the correct pH level of all 3 solutions. This confirms that our machine is ready to be used. If the equipment is showing incorrect reading, a manufacturing technician simply informs the supervisor that will provide an alternate pH meter or advise otherwise. As you can see on your screen, there are detailed steps along with the pictures. Every company has work instruction documents and you will be provided similar training before you operate on the pH meter or any other operations. You cannot perform any operation within a company if you are not trained, although you may have industry or prior knowledge. You must complete your training while working at company before executing operations. It is an FDA requirements CFR 210 and 211. Similar instructions from calibration to how to use, how to take reading and after-use storage of a pH meter. Detailed instructions are written in the company's procedures and they look exactly as you can see on your screen. Work instructions for how to calibrate before operation are separately documented and all technicians are trained on them. Moreover, training on calibration and actual operation are provided separately. On this screen you see actual operation steps on how to take reading of solution. Before you take the reading of a solution, you have to leave the probe or electrode in solution till the reading stabilizes. The equipment manual from the manufacturer would suggest 1 to 2 minutes, or, depending on the robustness of pH meter. After the reading stabilizes, you have to take print with the print button. After completion of all operation, this printout slip is affixed to the batch record and/or a log. pH meter is so easy to operate, it is just like checking your blood pressure with the blood pressure machine. All you need to remember is when you are about to perform this activity, the very first thing you need to do is a visual inspection to ensure no physical damage, then after you power it on and ensure it turns on. Then the calibration process begins, where you are given 3 different solutions with pH level of 4, 7, and 9, and you have to check that it is reading them accurately. Between each dip for reading, you need to wipe off probe with sterile wipe. The core principles of a good technician: to know and understand traceability of pH operations. To know and understand and ensure every single pH reading must print raw data. This raw data must have drug product number, name, and other information. This raw data is type of a traceability mechanism of why a solution was prepared, who performed it, what was the pH reading, which drug it was used for, date and time of execution. Moreover, the technical strength of a manufacturing technician also depends on how many relevant documents this information needs to be recorded in, and GDP rules must be followed. There are 2 fundamental documents that this information goes into, and one of them is pH meter calibration and operation logbook. As you can see on your screen, there is a specimen format for pH meter calibration and operation logbook. The core principle is to keep traceability on when a pH meter was used and for which drug it was used. The GDP principles must be followed while making entries in the logbook. Remember, if is not recorded, it never happened. We have learned GDP principles already. This concludes the pH meter operation. Thank you, see you in the next class.